Thank you very much, Reverend Koyo. That's the field pastor for Baptist field pastor for Ndu. And I will call on Edison to introduce the next speaker, who is supposed to be Ta-Nformi Ike. Over to you, Edison.
Thank you once more. Ta-Nformi Ike is an able son of Mbum who has knowledge in religion, and more precisely Christianity, because he is a trained pastor with the Cameroon Baptist Convention. Ta-Nformi Ike equally is a traditionalist, as you will hear from his title, Ta-Nformi, which means he is one of the authorities in the foot lodge of the Mbum culture and tradition. Ta-Nformi is equally an educationist and a community developer who has researched widely on this topic of witchcraft in Mbum. His input will surely be highly appreciated by us. Let us welcome Ta-Nformi as he drives us through this controversial topic of witchcraft. Ta-Nformi, Vubombo.
Thank you very much. I am very sorry that I am running late, and sorry for drawing you back. I heard a very hot question coming up, and and I was like, I should jump onto that question right away. But this is what I want to probably make the audience understand today. Yes, until you define witchcraft, it is difficult for you to accept whether it actually occurs or whether there is some part of it that is good and there's some part of it that is bad. So witchcraft is something that is, call it witch. Witch means, just say hidden. And a craft means it's like service, it's like work. So witchcraft is something, it's kind of work that is hidden. It is spiritual work hidden from normal human beings that can understand. But this is what I understand, and I have researched Mbum traditional philosophy or worldview concerning who we are as human beings. God created all human beings, including Mbum people, and Mbum people understand that God created them. You know, I want to distance myself from Christian theology as much as possible when I'm dealing with this. Now, God created a human being, and the Mbum man understood that God is spirit. He created a human being physical, and at the same time, God deposited his spirit in the human being. And the spirit of God is that particular contact point at which the normal human being communes or contacts with God. And so in every human being, there is a spirit. In Mbum tradition or culture or religion, there is no bad spirit. God created with good spirit. It is the human being that turns the bad spirit. And the human being has the ability to turn the bad spirit, the good spirit that God created you with, into a bad spirit, and then perform acts with those bad spirits. But initially, in every human being, there is a level of spirituality. There is a level of spirit. In some, it's higher. In some, it is lower. It is usually activated to do good or activated to do bad. So it is the human being. Either the human being is influenced to do bad, or he's influenced to do good, or the human being decides, activates himself to do bad or activates himself to do good. That is where witchcraft sets in. And that is where now a Mbum man can start to distinguish between the good spirit and the bad spirit, and then start to talk of good witchcraft and good and bad witchcraft. Because if the spirit that was planted in man, God could not have planted a bad spirit in somebody. God will only plant a good spirit, then the person in himself has the ability, with the wisdom God has given you, with the power God has given you, you have the ability to turn into bad or turn into good. So there is a good spirituality and there is a bad spirituality. So that is where the Mbum man will come up with something like good witchcraft and something like bad witchcraft. That is the crux of the matter, because it is difficult to understand witchcraft as just witchcraft, because when you call it to, it is bad. But when you call it to, again, with some reasoning, something is in it. Some part of it is good and some part of it is bad. I will explain that in the course of answering questions. Then I will have to also explain the 4 characteristics, what we call Mbato. I am not talking of Mbi, because when I talk of Mba is characteristic, is the mood. But when I talk of Mbi, is incarnation. That is different. So when I'm talking, I will bring some 4 characteristics, and then you will be able to see clearly how it goes. Then the fact that, how can you really prove that witchcraft exists? Okay, that's the question. You will want to prove that God exists because God is spirit, right? How do you prove that witchcraft exists? And how do you prove that God exists? So the question, I'm going to be able to align some various ways you can show that witchcraft exists and that witchcraft has been operating among us. And so that is going to come probably in the course of my answering questions. There are many questions that probably I will want to answer today, because I want things to be very clear to Mbum person concerning witchcraft, because it has come to stay. The fact that it is already operating among us, the fact that we believe it, we are already feeling it, we are victims of it. It's already clear that it is here. And how do we live with it? How do we live with our beliefs and the things we understand concerning witchcraft? Those are things that probably I will touch when I'm answering questions. Thank you very much. We can go ahead.